with ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday, December 2nd edition of the program. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and X, and there's plenty to talk about, as always. This regular season might be over, but the coaching carousel kicking up, and there's plenty of rumors there. A lot of talk about John David Baker, ECU offensive coordinator, potentially heading elsewhere from a bunch of different sources. I'll give you the latest on what I'm hearing this morning. As of this morning, we'll also get into the bowl picture. ECU kind of in wait-and-see mode on the bowl front as well. A lot of options are on the table. And yes, we are back. We have video. We had technical difficulties yesterday, and we have video and hopefully today on this program thanks to the hard work of Philip Pilkinen. He's back in the 94.3 The Game studios. We also have our good buddy Cason Remaley. He's here to tell you how ECU is going to beat UMass tonight in basketball. So, Philip, I'm just glad to see your face again, man. It's yesterday I couldn't see, even though we were in the same room, I could only see the top of your hair through the computer monitor. So, welcome back to your face.
Yeah, it's good to see you again as well, Igo. And I can't take the credit for everything being fixed. This was way above my technologically knowledge. That was all Michael and Dan that fixed everything. So I have no idea what the hell went wrong or how anybody knows how to fix it. But I also, when it comes to technology, I know how to work an iPhone, and that's about it. So,
well, I appreciate you telling the truth, and I'm still going to give you full credit because you're here on the mic, and I need you on my side. Cason Remaley, he's here. Cason, I didn't tell you this, but we're actually doing an hour-long preview of East Carolina University Maryland Eastern Shore basketball game. Are you ready?
I am fully prepared, yes, sir. I have my notepads out, iPad out. Let's do it.
All right. He is ready to go. All right. We were not going to start with ECU basketball. We may address it at some point. And let's just dive right into it, guys. The talk is out there. John David Baker, ECU offensive coordinator. None of this is a surprise. Let's go back to 2023, the conclusion of that season when he came when he came to ECU initially after the firing of Donnie Kirkpatrick. ECU had basically the worst offense in America. Since then, they have gotten much better. They have a top 30 offense in basically most major statistical categories. They're elite on third down. What he's done has been pretty astronomical, and you knew he was going to get attention. He got attention from Virginia Tech last year, and a couple other schools ended up turning it down to return to ECU, got a 2-year deal. And so another good year. Caden Hauser at quarterback, and there's a lot of buzz out there. So what's real, what's not? Here's what I have gathered. The South Carolina stuff, all that, for the most part, was smoke. I do think, talking to some South Carolina people, that Shane Beamer, South Carolina, was very interested in John David Baker. And at one point, he may have been interested in them, but I don't think it got much further than that. A lot of buzz out there about Ole Miss as well. Obviously, Pete Golding getting the head coaching job. Lane Kiffin leaving. You have Charlie Weiss Jr., who was the OC. At the time John David Baker was hired, he was the co-OC. Charlie Weiss was calling it, though. So there's some talk about potentially Ole Miss also circling back with JDB, as Pete Golding was on staff in 2023 on the defensive side of the ball with the Rebels. So that could be a possibility, but I'm hearing that the main team interested in JDB's services is Virginia Tech. James Franklin, kind of a quiet team until really the last 24 hours until I heard some stuff. James Franklin and Virginia Tech obviously building a staff. They have targeted John David Baker as one of their top candidates. And just being honest, guys, with all this smoke out there, I have not clarified whether or not JDB has officially been offered or accepted anything. But I just think with all the smoke right now, all the talk, all the interest, the teams needing OCs, and we'll get into the quarterback discussion as well, I just find it hard to believe that JDB is back as ECU's offensive coordinator next year as things stand now. I do know ECU is going to try to do what they can, but let's be real, they can only offer so much money. Just like School A can only offer so much money versus what School B. There's always going to be a bigger fish in college football, unless you're Ohio State and maybe in some ways and Alabama, even though at times they get poached. So I say all this to say that the rumors, some are false, some are true, but JDB very much there is a very real reality. He's not your OC next year because he's going to another institution. So we'll have a discussion on that. Cason, we'll start with you. Just your thoughts on the kind of what you've heard, the Virginia Tech stuff I just kind of talked about, and what this could potentially mean for the Pirates if JDB makes a move to another school.
Yeah, I just think it's unfortunate, just what it is what it is. And I mean, when he was hired 2 years ago, we all knew, and I remember me and you talking about, because I was in college then, if he's successful, this is going to be a rental. This is not going to be a long-term thing. And he turned the offense, like you said, from one of the worst in the country to one of the best. Unreal. And I think the real unfortunate part is I think that JDB and Caton Hauser are a package deal. So I think if one goes, the other one's going to go with, which I think is very unfortunate. And I just think it's crazy that because I was thinking about it, talking with my buddies about the Virginia Tech stuff with JDB. And I remember sitting there with my good buddy Reed. Reed, we were talking about just how crazy just the ripple effect is. And we watched the Penn State UCLA game when they lost and they fired Franklin, and it's just crazy how things like that affect ECU and how the trickle down effect. And just like you said, just if you're a Group of 5 team and have success, you're going to get rinsed. I mean, look at the American Conference right now. There's 4 head coaches leaving, and let's be completely real. If Blake went 12-0, 11-1, there's a great chance he's gone as well. It just is what it is. And on the flip side of it, ECU has to go raid a lower program now. Like you said on Hoist the Colors, just they're going to do it to us, so we should do it to someone else. It sounds bad, but it's dog eat dog out here in college football in 2025.
It is a dog eat dog world, and I mean, it's just going to be that way. ECU, if JDB is leaving, I'm sure. Look, at this point, I trust Blake Carroll to make a good hire. Potentially, the toughest thing about this obviously would be you've got the chance to have a really good offense next year if you were to bring all your pieces back. And we'll get into the Caton discussion here in a minute. And if JDB leaves for a bigger job, the reality is like Virginia Tech, whether it's Caton, whether it's other key offensive pieces, they're going to say, hey, can you bring those guys with us? We can pay them more. So you very could have to restart on offense, and that would stink. But I do think ECU is in a solid spot financially for the American Conference as far as revenue share, and they'll be able to pick up some pieces too. And you would still have your leader in Blake Carroll, and you would still have most of your defense back as well in many cases. So I think you at least have your captain and some key pieces as well. So, but I don't know, Philip, your take on the very real reality JDB could be on the move this offseason.
Yeah, well, first off, Stephen, I want to go back to what you said about Ohio State and Alabama potentially being immune to this. Well, when it comes to their coordinators, they are the least immune to it, maybe of all, right? It's just kind of the head coaches and maybe the starting quarterback where they become immune, but anybody else, they're having these same conversations as well. When it comes to this, it's just you're worried about what happens if you have an early season hiccup. I think that I believe in Blake Carroll to make the right hire. I believe in the hire that he makes because I trust Coach Harrell to bring in the right quarterback. The question then becomes, how does the conference slate fall? It's fairly easy, but what if you get one of your tougher games at the beginning? What if you mess up early? What if we're sitting here on Tuesday going into the conference championship next year, not in the game? Because at the end of the day, going back to Cason's point, you're getting all these other coaches poached. If JDB returns and Caton returns, your likelihood of not being the favorite is very slim. Now, South Florida just got a huge grant from campus as a loan to the athletic department. So even though they're going to have a new head coach, they will be right there at the top. And then East Carolina, you expect. Memphis will have their money, so they'll be up there. And I want to say they'll blow it, but, maybe that's a Ryan Silverfield problem, not a Memphis problem. Who knows? And then, probably next you'd say would be probably Temple, just because of the job that their coach has done in his first year. Now they'll have a new starting quarterback as well, as Evan Simon is out of eligibility. So, I think that's the worrisome part if this happens, you feel like next year is like laid out perfect as of now to go to the college football playoff. You'll have a young man returning as a quarterback who started his entirety of his junior year, started part of his sophomore year, and started at a Power 5 school. When will East Carolina ever have that again? Probably never. That's the frustrating part. But like you guys said, it's don't hate the player, hate the game, because the system is what is broken.
All right, a lot of comments saying, obviously, a reason JDB is attractive as a top-tier candidate is because of Caden Hauser and some of the pieces he could bring. You know, somebody mentioned Yannick Smith, Emmanuel Poku, and others. Jamarion McCrimmon I would put in there, the tight ends, you know, Brock Spalding. All those guys, key pieces. So that's the thing. JDB, obviously, his offenses have put up huge numbers. And, you know, if you do dive a little deeper into the efficiency of the offense, it's not as efficient as most offenses, or I shouldn't say most, as some of the top offenses in the country, just because they run so many plays, but that's part of being a tempo offense, et cetera. So either way, the fact that Caden has a year of eligibility left, I think makes him more attractive. I mean, just talking to coaches in the industry outside of ECU, I mean, this is just a common theme. Like, if you're looking for a quarterback, you're going to – and an OC, you're going to look at an OC that has a potential to bring the quarterback with him. So I'm sure if James Franklin's eyeing ECU, as I hear he is, then he's looking at it as, hey, I can get JDB, I can get Caden Hauser. So what is the likelihood if JDB leaves that Caden Hauser would go with him? I can't get inside Caden Hauser's mind, but I would assume much more likely than if JDB were to stay. You know, I guess my only question is with JDB, you know, we do have to remember there was a time he picked Jake Garcia to start over Caden Hauser. Now, I'm sure their relationship has changed a lot since then, since they made the switch to Hauser full-time midway through last season, and they put up big wins and had a lot of numbers together. So there was also a time Caden Hauser told us on the show he doesn't really want to learn another offense if possible. He already went through that in Michigan State. He doesn't want to have to go earn the job, be the guy. So I do know if JDB leaves, ECU is going to offer Caden Hauser a lot of money to stay, and that would be something he would have to consider. I'm sure Virginia Tech or whatever other school that potentially hires JDB could offer him a lot as well. So a lot of moving parts here. I don't think it's a given if JDB leaves that Caden's going with him, but certainly the percentages go up in that scenario. So teams want package deals, and we talked about it. Even if ECU somehow loses JDB and Caden, I think they're going to potentially search for something at the FCS or lower group of 5 level as well. Or a guy like Caden Hauser 2 years ago who started a handful of games at Michigan State and came back to ECU to play more. Like, there's going to be other options out there, Cason. Unfortunately, we're going to have to get used to having these conversations, as uncomfortable as they are, as unfortunate as they are. When you have success in this era of college football, these are the conversations we're going to be having every offseason. It's not cool. It kind of stinks, but at the same time, you just got to be ready to play the game. So it is a side effect of winning, unfortunately. And hopefully people continue to give to the program financially so that they can either withstand the losses more or have a greater chance at retention.
Yeah, without a doubt. We're going to have these conversations in all 3 sports. Maybe not basketball, LOL, but baseball, we definitely have this conversation about every year, especially this past year. It was a big topic of conversation just every year now when the group of 5 team goes on a great run during a year. By mid-December, if half of the team is still there, half of the coaching staff, wow, that's simply amazing. It really just is what it is. And I mean, it sucks. But like you said, I mean, it's time for us to do the flip on a lower team, or maybe bring someone over like Caden Hauser was two years ago, like kind of struggling at the Power 5 level, and then do that. I mean, I really just don't know what to say, because it really just is what it is, and we're just going to have to get used to it in every sport, to be honest with you, man. It sucks, but it's just what it is, to be honest.
All right, some comments here. A lot of comments. Jansen Kidd says every other American contender is having the same issue right now. That's some silver lining going into 26. I mean, yeah, from a stability standpoint, the only schools that are going to be stable for the most part are Army and Navy. And, that's just going to – even Army was not immune to losing some key guys outside of, the quarterback position. I mean, they lost Daly to graduation, but they lost some defensive players to the portal. But Navy and Army are going to have consistent, for the most part, teams, and the rest of the conference is going to have the benefit of NIL, but also be lagging behind in consistency. So interesting for the conference going forward from that standpoint. Now more than ever, somebody says ECU needs to pony up and offer JDB and the other coaches multi-million-dollar contracts. I mean, there's just not enough money to be offering coordinators for ECU multi-million-dollar contracts. Multi-year, yes. Right now, JDB is making $475,000 on a 2-year deal. I mean, even if you bumped it to $550,000, $600,000, he's still probably taking close to $1 million at a school like Virginia Tech. So financially, I'd rather spend the money on the player, which I think ECU would try to do in this instance, Philip. Like, this is now a players-driven league, college football is. So I don't know if now's the night time to be offering multi-million-dollar contracts to coordinators, unfortunately.
No, it's not. And look, I was on the phone with my dad, interestingly enough, about this last night. We were talking about coaches going to be getting paid less eventually. And, okay, so why is, LSU fronting all this money for Lane Kiffin? They can hit the $20 million mark when it comes to what they pay their players. So they can then exceed that in what they pay their coaches. However, unfortunately, where you're going to see this is every school that cannot afford $20 million in rev share are going to have to actually do the opposite. They're going to have to pay coaches less, because if they pay coaches what they're paying them now, that's less money that can go to players. If they pay them more, that's even less money that can go to players. And I can tell you right now, it doesn't matter if Bear Bryant is out there coaching. If you have a $1.5 million roster in the American Conference, you ain't winning a dang game, regardless of who's coaching. You are going to need a $7 million plus roster to be able to go out there and compete in the American Conference moving forward. $5 million probably being like the bare minimum. So paying coaches is honestly the opposite of what we need to do. Now, again, I know we're saying, well, Ole Miss is paying, or LSU's paying more than Ole Miss. Again, they're not playing the same game we're playing. We're playing the same game, though, as our counterparts. James Madison, Boise State, South Florida, Memphis. We're playing the same game as those guys. We aren't playing the same game as LSU.
And look, no disrespect to JDB, who I think has an extremely bright future in this industry. But if I'm offering anybody a multi-million-dollar, multi-year contract, it's a quarterback. I mean, that's who I'm spending my money on. There's a reason in the NFL the quarterbacks make the most money, $50 million a year, the good ones, and the coordinators are probably making what, $1 million or $2 million at most?
They're probably making NFL. I got to look at it. I would guess coordinators are probably making, $2 million, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Because you got to think the NFL's bringing in more money than what the salary cap is. And they have a hard salary cap in the NFL. They can. It all really is up to the owner. He can pay whatever the coordinators and the coaches whatever the hell he wants.
There's no cap on what you pay coaches in the NFL. But either way, compared to what the quarterbacks are making and the players are making, it's not a whole lot, unless it's a big, big name head coach. All right, let's get a break in, guys. We'll come back. We got a lot of comments on that. We'll continue on this discussion. Obviously, it'll be a big topic of discussion no matter which way it goes. The rest of the offseason, this is college football now, and it is what it is. We'll get more into it on the other side. We'll get into the bowl picture later. I got some information on that as well. This is Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Oh, hey, welcome back. You got here just in time. This is Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, segment 2 here on the show. All right, so we discussed, if you just joined us, a lot of John David Baker talk out there on social media, trying to figure out what's real, what's not. You know, I've heard from some pretty reliable sources that Virginia Tech making a strong push for John David Baker under James Franklin. And I think he's in the mix for Ole Miss as well, potentially, but VT seems like the main threat right now to ECU. South Carolina seems like unlikely at this time, although things are fluid and can change. We got Cason Remaley with us. We got Philip Hilkinen with us as well. I also wanted to note the All-American Conference teams were just released. Now, not the All-American teams, the All-American Conference teams. And ECU has 9 representatives, including 4 first-team selections. ECU offensive tackle Jamarion McCrimmon, safety Jamali Riddle, wide receiver Anthony Smith, and defensive tackle Zion Wilson are your first-team picks. Second-teamers, defensive lineman J.D. Lampley, long snapper Tristan O'Brien, offensive guard Emmanuel Poku, and Yannick Smith and Damian Wilson are third-teamers. So 9 selections. No Caton Hauser, because you had Drew Mestamaker as your player of the year, North Texas quarterback. You had Byron Brown, second-team quarterback, and Blake Horvath, Navy quarterback, third team. So there's your all-conference team.
Can he even count for quarterback?
Do they what? Count?
I mean, how do you count a guy who throws the ball 3 times a game as an all-conference quarterback? Yeah. I get he's got great impact for his team, but come on here.
Right. That's where it gets tricky. I mean, it's hard to say he's not an all-conference player, given Navy's record, but I'm with you. I'm surprised, Caton, but I get it. It's just, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't want to get in this conversation. We get the whole show on that. All right, so a lot of comments here, and a lot of, Kenny says if JDB leaves, he leaves. Who would we look at as replacement? We need this kind of offense because it works for East Carolina. A lot of talk about who ECU would look at. We'll get more into that if the news becomes official. Cason and I were talking yesterday, and here's my thing. And I said earlier, I trust Blake Carroll. He hired Josh Aldridge. Somebody else said in the comments, I trust Blake Carroll as well. He found Josh Aldridge, and nobody's really talking about him, and that has ended up being a very good hire. I'm to the point. Yeah, it'd stink to rebuild on offense to an extent, but the culture of the program right now, you're winning. I think the way Blake Carroll is makes this job very attractive. And look, if the last OC that was poached from ECU was Lincoln Riley, all right, so if you now lose John David Baker potentially, that just makes the job more attractive. Now, Ruff McNeil hired from within with Dave Nickel. that's a whole other rabbit hole we could go down. I actually thought Dave Nickel would have done a heck of a job. He had a quarterback, but that's a whole story for another day. I think in this case, you have a chance to really make a great hire, and I think the position is very attractive. Case, and I know you wanted to expand upon that.
Yeah, because me and you were texting about it, and because we were like, who would they possibly get if this does happen? And that's a great question. And like you said, we'll get into it if the JDB news becomes official. But like you said, I mean, if you're offensive coordinator, why would you not want to come be on this staff? I mean, Blake Harrell, he coaches with swagger, he coaches with confidence, just the way he speaks, his body language, just everything about him is just culture, winning, hard nose, and swagger. And he also, most importantly, he does it with class. There are some other coaches in the American down there at the Riverwalk, UTSA, that are successful but don't do it the right way, in my opinion. And Blake Harrell does it the right way. And like you said, Lincoln Riley, you see where he is at ECU, and you also see what JDB is maybe about to do. So I think ECU is a great job, and to the point where the air raid, high-powered, high-fast offense works at ECU, especially ECU. I do agree with that, but I think that no matter what scheme you are running, whether it's you run the ball 50 times and it works, it's successful. I'm not going to sit here and say like ECU necessarily needs to have this high-powered, high-tempo. I think whatever works. And I think to your point of people will want to come play for Blake, it is East Carolina. We are a good football program. It's a nice culture. It's in a small town, Greenville. The American Conference, in my opinion, has opened up because of it. I think it's a very attractive job. But to your point, learning a new offense in the spring will not be the best, I think. There will be some slow starts to start the year. So if JDB does leave, it will be a crucial spring for the Pirates.
I know some people have asked, if this occurs, is there an internal candidate? Matt Maddox has been a coordinator before. I don't know the last time he called plays, but he's your O-line coach. And then you've got also the tight ends coach Hunter McKay, who I feel like is kind of the next guy in line as well, potentially. But I don't know. I think you go outside, but I just don't know enough about the situation right now to say which way they would lean if JDB ends up going. All right. Bruce Willis says if we don't get kneecapped at UTSA, Blake Harrell could be the coach at Arkansas right now. I don't know quite if that would have happened, but maybe his name would have been out there a little more. So I don't know. We had a question here that did we think JDB has made Caton, or do we think Caton has made JDB? I mean, that's like a national radio talk show take right there. Like one of us takes one side, the other takes the other. I don't know. Like I think they both complement each other. I do think, obviously the way Caton has elevated the offense since being inserted at quarterback compared to Jake Garcia, I think in some ways you can make a clear argument for Caton there. But you look at Caton at Michigan State, it was a struggle, but he was also a redshirt freshman on a bad team. So I don't know. The realistic, boring answer is probably somewhere in the middle, Philip.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think, when you've got this little of a sample size and, it's only a year and a half, it's kind of hard to take either side. But I think if you look at their time at East Carolina, yeah, you would say, Caton outperformed Jake. Jake had, 6 games? So, that would be the cop-out answer, I guess, if you had to choose one. But, look, these guys have complemented each other really well. JDB has found a way to mold this offense around Caton Hauser, and Caton Hauser has settled into this and gone out there and understand what Coach Baker is trying to do and play in and play out. So, I understand the question, but I just think only time will tell. Maybe we'll see what happens next year. Maybe, they'll probably be together if I had to guess, but if they're not, maybe one will succeed and the other will not. I don't know. I mean, obviously I wish them both success, so I'm not praying on that, but and that maybe will answer your question.
All right, final thing on this, because, again, we can talk in circles. And if the news officially happens, we'll have more reaction to it. We're just kind of reacting to what I've heard and what the rumors are, what they're not, that sort of stuff. But somebody did ask what would be the timeline on this. You have National Signing Day tomorrow. It's kind of sneaking up on everybody. They moved it up this year. So I would assume that most schools and most of these staff changes are going to be announced after signing day. for the respect of like everybody's just like, hey, let's get through signing day, get these guys signed, and then you can go on your way. That's not just at ECU, but like everywhere. It seems to be the mentality. So it could leak out before then if it happens, but I would think after signing day, maybe late Wednesday, Thursday, you hear something, especially at Virginia Tech or whoever's trying to put together a staff quickly. As far as the players, though, it's a little bit more complicated because do they want to play in the bowl game? Do they want to go ahead and sit out and opt to transfer? This is at every school, and I'm not just talking ECU here. So recruiting in December is technically dead. So even if you announce you're going to enter the portal, you cannot enter the portal and have direct contact with the team until January. So, for example, if a quarterback at, let's just say, a school in a bowl game anywhere, if their coach is not leaving, he could announce he enters the portal or is going to enter the portal, but he cannot be directly contacted. He could still play in the bowl game and then enter the portal. So there's a lot of layers to the player side of it, but from a coaching standpoint, I would expect to hear it sooner rather than later is my answer to it. So did that make any sense?
Yeah, no, it did. I have a question I want to bring to the two of you guys.
Yeah.
Let's go hypothetical here. I know people don't like when we do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. Caton Hauser does not play in the bowl game. JDB leaves, and he's like, I'm going with him. Who starts the bowl game?
Mike Wright.
Mike Wright.
I agree. I think so. Now, the question is, too, like, let's be honest. Raheem's gone. I mean, he didn't see a snap this year. Chasten Ditta's got that extra year. Or, he's saved his red shirt. I think Mike, it's going to be his last college football game. You got to give him every opportunity to go out there and succeed. But do you think there's I wouldn't say Chasten Ditta package, but is there a Chasten Ditta, hey, let's go in there and get this guy some live game reps? Because, to your point, Stephen, you can't contact anybody till January. So, as of then, Chasten would be the starter of the East Carolina Pirates until somebody else comes in and beats him out for the job.
I think at that point you go into the game, if it comes down to that, with a 2-quarterback system. And I think you start Mike Wright because he's the senior, he probably deserves it. But if it's just not working early, then you go to the Chasten Ditta experience. I don't know. What do you think, Cason?
And I will say that for the bowl game, I agree. I think you should do 80 Mike Wright, maybe Chasten in there for some plays, but I want Mike Wright in there. Me personally, this may be emotion or heart, but it's his last game. He's done a lot he's been a year, but he's done a lot for the program. I think you let him ride off into the sunset. But in terms of next year, I'm glad that Blake Harrell is the head coach and was on the staff for that whole Mason Garcia, Alex Flynn thing. So he knows going into the season, I cannot have what we experienced with Garcia and Flynn, which I think is a good thing. So I think that Ditta will not be the starting quarterback next year. They're going to go out and get a guy, if not 2 guys. I think that is going to be crucial. And like I said before, I'm glad Harrell was here because that was a train wreck. Because I remember the spring game when Flynn, it was just a mess. And then going into the season, I'm sorry I brought it up. We don't need to get into it, but I just want to say I'm glad Blake was on that staff for that.
I don't think Mike Houston would care if I share this, but it's interesting that you say that because I remember talking to Mike after Blake got the job off the record, and he was just like, it's good that Blake has been through a year like that because he knows how valuable the quarterback position is and that he can't miss as the head coach. So, I think it's worth bringing that up. You got to do whatever you do, no matter what happens, you got to have a quarterback or at least put yourself in the best position possible to have one. You cannot leave any question about it. All right, let's get a break in. Again, we'll have more on this if it happens officially, but that's just kind of the discussion right now, what we're hearing, that sort of thing. So good discussion. Appreciate everybody's comments. When we come back, we'll get more into bowl talk, what I'm hearing on that front. Man, a lot of speculation, a lot of options on the table. We'll get more into that. This is Hoist the Colors.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provide knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Remember, get the podcast of the show on the IBS Media app or where you get your podcasts.
Got it. Don't have to tell me twice. I'll remember it.
All right, welcome back in Hoist the Colors. Cason Remaley hanging out with us today. Good to have Cason back. Former Hoist the Colors intern doing his thing. Also, Philip Pilkinen producing today's program. We had a fun discussion about just kind of the whole John David Baker rumor mill, all that sort of stuff. If you missed any of it, check it out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and archived on YouTube and Facebook as well. Let's transition now to the bowl discussion. And just going to be honest, there's a lot of talk out there, and I know I've been getting a lot of messages, texts. Hey, where should I make reservations for bowl season so I can get a head start on this? And look, if you want to make reservations in like 5 or 6 different cities, go right ahead. But otherwise, I don't have a clue where they're going because Blake Carroll doesn't have a clue where they're going. John Gilbert doesn't have a clue where they're going. There's just a lot of moving parts here. Per my sources this morning, lots of possibilities. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, there's a lot on the table. Mentions the Liberty Bowl, Military Bowl, Gasparilla Bowl, or Armed Forces, maybe even Fenway. Basically, everything's on the table, and it's all dependent upon. There's a lot of layers to this, but essentially the SEC, based upon projected teams in the playoff, would not be able to fill all their bowl slots, and so that number could differ depending on how many teams get into the playoff. The Liberty Bowl is an option as of now for the American, and they would get top pick. The Liberty Bowl would from the American teams, and then Military Bowl would get second pick. So there's just a lot of layers to this. And Philip, you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, because there was some chit-chat going on last night when I was at dinner about another potential bowl game that I know has an SEC slot, potentially doing some trading type, or maybe they couldn't even fill this slot. Would that bowl pick before the Military Bowl and after the Liberty Bowl?
That I do not know.
Okay,
I would assume if the Liberty Bowl goes to the top, whatever that, so that would be another SEC bowl basically.
Yeah.
If that was also entered into the mix, I would assume it would go above the Liberty Bowl, because if the Liberty Bowl is kind of already looking at the American, then this next SEC bowl, I would assume, would be ahead of the Liberty Bowl in the SEC pecking order. Does that make sense? So that would probably give them the right.
Yeah, and that's what I
American
figured. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I want people to remember, too, a lot of this does come down to who wins championship game. Tulane is going to be a bigger draw if they lose. Like, if they lose, I would expect Tulane to go to the Liberty Bowl, Navy to go to the Military Bowl, and then it trickles down from there. But if North Texas wins, they are not the attraction that Tulane is. Navy could end up getting poached by the Liberty Bowl, and then that causes almost everybody to, like, slot up one. Yep. So, like, that's a lot of it does come down to who wins Saturday.
And that's
Friday
why
night,
we're
Friday
just
night.
Yeah, was it like 8 o'clock kickoff?
Yeah,
9 o'clock,
sure, or something like that.
And that's kind of why, like, it stinks, but we're just in a holding pattern. I mean, I would love to be able to tell people where ECU's playing, and the bowl projections bear this out. So I'm going to read off the bowl projections on a Hoist the Colors. I'll get Cason to give me his. We already gave our dream matchup last week. Mine was Gasparilla versus Clemson. I don't know how realistic that is, but here are the latest projections. Fenway Bowl versus Louisville by CBS Sports. Athlon Sports has Liberty Bowl versus Cincinnati. Pro Football Network has Gasparilla Bowl versus Wake Forest. ESPN's Mark Schlabach has Georgia Southern at the Myrtle Beach Bowl. ESPN's Kyle Bonagura has, I think they're just making up these people. These are really AI. Has the Armed Forces Bowl versus Kansas State. College Football News has Myrtle Beach Bowl versus Georgia Southern as well. Sports Illustrated has Gasparilla Bowl versus Wake Forest as well. The Athletic has the Birmingham Bowl versus UConn. Please no. And USA Today has Fenway Bowl versus Louisville. Cason, where do you want to go?
Me personally, I would want to go to Fenway. Personally, I think that'd be a fun experience. ACC team, is it still possible for us? I mean, we don't know, but like if Duke loses, could we play Duke in Fenway? Because that's what I would want personally. I want to see Duke in Fenway. That would be my dream matchup personally. Is that possible? But I'm not going to Myrtle Beach to go watch them play Georgia Southern. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not going to Conway. I mean, I'm just not. I mean, it's fun, but I don't want to go watch them play Georgia Southern. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing that. Sorry.
I would think Duke is possible, right, Philip, if they lose?
Yeah, so what I'm looking at here is UNC from last year. They played in that game. And let's see what their record was going in, because a lot of it, it does go to that pecking order. Looks like Carolina came in at 6-6. Duke is 7-5. So there's that. And look, if Duke wins, we could still see them in the Fenway Bowl. Like, let's put that in there. If Duke wins, they're probably going to need a Troy win over JMU and a Boise State win over UNLV in order to make the college football playoff. So, no, I think they'd probably go a little higher than Fenway. There's some better ACC-tied bowl games there if they're the ACC champion. But just throwing that out there that, don't – yeah, I think there's very much possibility. And I think with some of these ties, too, Wake is a possibility.
Yeah, look, if I could get a full-powered ECU team, JDB, Caton Hauser, everybody ready to go, I'd love nothing more than to just lay the hammer on Wake Forest after the nonsense they're backing out of this game. Like, who do you think you are, Wake Forest football? Nobody goes to your freaking games to begin with, man. God, it just ticks me off. Like, oh, too scared to play in Greenville. Let's go, man. Let's meet up in the Gasparilla Bowl. You don't want none of this. You don't want none of this smoke, son.
Yeah.
I'm with you. They suck.
They suck. Okay.
I don't know if they suck.
Wow. Here we go, Casey.
No one's going to go.
You know what? Chaston Ditta can beat Wake Forest.
I think Raheem Jeter could score a touchdown drive.
Dude, well, if Chaston Ditta makes throws like he made that Campbell game, Chaston Ditta can beat anybody. He's got to have the rest of the team around him.
Oh yeah.
That was an NFL caliber touchdown pass.
Chaston Ditta, early 2026 Heisman campaign. We can get started as he drops 50 on Wake Forest in the Gasparilla Bowl. This is why I love the offseason, the discussions we can have. All right, Cole says, I really want the Gasparilla Bowl versus Wake. It would be a great trip, and I need to get out of the snow up here in Syracuse. Widespread Pirates, he wants to take out the frustrations on Wake Forest as well. And Zach Smith wants Duke to win the championship so the ACC gets left out of the playoff. And I'm with you there. I am, for probably the first time in a while, going to be a Philip Pilkington pull for Duke guy this weekend.
You don't pull for Duke when they play State or Carolina? Come on, man.
I don't pull for anybody. I just
hope
witnessed
it ends in a
downfall.
0-0 tie.
What I pull for is the most electric meltdown possible from the losing fan base.
There you go.
That's what I get entertained by. I probably do. My granddad used to pull for Duke, so I would probably say I pull for Duke when they play Carolina, but I don't really enjoy seeing either side win, if I'm being honest.
Fair enough. You just don't like the triangle. He doesn't like the Canes.
That's right.
Doesn't like the
yeah. I grew up a Pirate through and through.
Yeah, I'm on that Canes train too.
Oh, we know. We were talking about that on the way home the other day. We were bringing up you specifically and your U2's hatred for the Canes.
Do y'all think the committee legitimately leaves? If Duke wins and it's Duke versus JMU, do y'all really think the committee legitimately leaves Duke out?
Dude, one loss versus 5 losses. Like, come on. You got to. Like, if Duke would have not just blown it against either Tulane or Illinois, like, we're probably having a different conversation right now. But, like, Duke lost 5 games. How do you put a 5-loss team in there? It was a 12-team playoff. We ain't talking about a 24-team playoff. We're talking about 12.
Robert says Duke has more Power 4 wins than the Sun Belt or Mountain West Conference champs, so committee probably putting Duke in.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, Duke has 1 loss against a team with 8 wins, 2 losses against the teams with 9 wins, and 2 losses against teams with 10 wins. So, like, their losses are all legit, but still.
Yeah, I will say when I saw the committee chair do the 6-7 joke on ESPN, I was
God, that's the worst, bro.
I was like, we're cooked. I was like, we're done. So I personally have no faith in what's going to happen. After I saw that, I was watching that live, and I just like stood up and turned it off.
Pulled the SpongeBob meme.
If you're the head of a committee and you're doing that, you need to be ahead of the middle school committee on the playground or something. I don't know.
Legit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I used to think the BCS computers were bad, but the more I watch these committee members just fumble answers left and right, I'm like, this is even worse, I think. I mean, I kind of agree with the guys from Cover 3 podcast. Like, everybody has bias, but I think they'd almost be better letting, like, the real college football insiders that study the numbers and have, like, human elements to it pick over these ADs who literally the AD was trying to run a coaching search and also rank the CFP top teams. Like, what are we doing, man?
Yeah, I mean,
it's just so stupid.
And I understand having a committee and you're getting away from the AP because that's what it used to be, was the Associated Press. 1 and 2 play each other for the title, but it's just like they need to get a group of actual people together, not the idiot girl from USC who bumped a team up despite getting upset. Like, they need real people in there writing this stuff. Like, Pete Thamel should have a vote. And, like, some of those Cover 3 guys should have votes. Like, these are real people.
Marty Smith have a vote, too, after what he did for Lane Kiffin for legit. That was the craziest thing in the world. I mean, if you have not seen the Marty Smith interview with Lane Kiffin and then him talk about it on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, go take 10 minutes and do that after the show at 1:02. It is hilarious.
I haven't seen that. Me and I go watch the first one. I haven't seen the Pat McAfee thing yet.
Yeah. He looked like he was just out in the middle of like a field by the airport interviewing him. Yeah, so I'm going to have to check that out. I'll finally give in and watch the Pat McAfee show, okay, Cason? For the first time ever. I'll do it. All right, let's get a final break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. We'll get Cason's thoughts on the Pirate basketball team and much more after this as we wrap it up.
Hurry to Greenville Toyota for model year-end savings on a Camry. Just $229 a month. $229 a month. Or new RAV4, $279 a month. $279 a month. Only during our model year-end move-out. Right now at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
It's Greenville Toyota's model year-end move-out. Save on a new Corolla, just $149 a month. $149 a month. Or new Tacoma, $249 a month. $249 a month. Now get a move on and save.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, final segment here, final few minutes. Been a busy show, but a fun show. A lot of viewers, a lot of comments. Appreciate everybody participating. Final few minutes, I'll reserve the floor, the time for Cason Remaley as Philip Pilkin producing. But Cason, he is originally a basketball guy. He's gotten more into baseball and football, but the Pirate basketball team is letting him down this year. They are ranked 251st in the net, or excuse me, in KenPom, and like 320 in the net. So, Cason, what's your thoughts on Pirate basketball?
It's been a tough year for sure. I want to give a funny story though. On Thanksgiving, they played on Thanksgiving at 12 o'clock. I turned it on for the first time to look at the game, and it was relatively close. But I was sitting at my house. We have a big table for like the hors d'oeuvres, appetizers. I'm sitting with my phone. I turn it on for a quick second to go see the score. First thing I see is two of our bigs trying to post up on the same block. So I turned off my phone and had some more cheese and crackers. But it's just absolutely ridiculous sometimes. Just some of the things that I see on that court are ridiculous. But Jordan Riley played outstanding last game, 28 points. That was a big performance from him. I just don't understand just some of the things that go on the basketball court. Calker's been a little disappointing. There's not much shooting on the team. I saw a graphic on Twitter where I don't know how to explain it, but it was like your three-point efficiency in the shots you take. Their ECU's, I think, dead last in the country. It's just not ideal. But then again, you have every opportunity to win the next game, so we'll see what happens.
ECU 2-5 overall, 1-5 versus Division I opponents. Maryland Eastern Shore tonight. Pirates were 13.5-point favorites last I saw. Cason, are you willing to lay the points in the money?
I am not going to lay any money tonight. Yeah, I'm not going to lay any money tonight. I've sprinkled a few dollars on some of the other ECU basketball games this year. I'm not going to do it tonight. This Maryland Eastern Shore team is not that good. I think ECU can cover tonight. I know it's a lot of points, 13.5, but I will not be doing it tonight. And I will be watching tonight, though, so I will have my thoughts on the game thread board if you go to Hoist the Colors today.
There you go. And St. Bonaventure, by the way, did beat FAU on the road and hung with North Carolina. So, I mean, maybe that's an encouraging performance, although I don't think you're going to get many shooting nights like that from Jordan Riley. So, we'll see. Hopefully the Pirates get back on the winning track tonight. Cason, this was fun, man. I appreciate you joining us on a little bit of a crazy Tuesday, man, but it was fun as always.
Yeah, man, no problem. Anytime Cason to come on, I'm going to come on. And I saw a comment from RB Pirate 5. Our mustaches in? Yes, sir, they are. They're back.
If Cason's doing it, they're definitely in. Jansen Kidd also with a question about Broncos Jags. We'll save that for later in the week, Jansen, but I got you. Philip Pilkinen, thanks as always, man. Appreciate you getting the video working.
Appreciate it, guys. It was fun.
All right, we got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow, signing day special. Hopefully we'll catch up with some signees, commits. We'll have you covered then on Wednesday. Thanks for listening.